welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, wait, there's something different about the live setup today. I don't know what it is, but okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to the live. Sorry, my bangs are like, they were bothering me, but okay. I am really excited for today's live. If you were here yesterday, we were painting this bag from Kate Spade. So I'm going to add today like some finishing touches to this side, and then after I add those finishing touches, I'm gonna get started on the back. But of course, y'all know I like to also, wow, my workspace is kind of like a lot going on right now. I really do try to clean up after every painting session, but it's not every time I remember. Hi Boma, welcome. Okay, so before I get started on today's live, I do always like to set an intention. So I'm gonna light some Palo Santo. And I have this book called Godfessions, which y'all know I like to read from it. Sometimes I feel convicted to read from it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, let's just get started and set an intention. But I think today we'll set an intention and also read from the book. I think that's a good setup for today. So today's intention and like overarching theme is gratitude. I was just thinking today, okay, so burning some Palo Santo. Yeah, I'm setting the intention of just staying in a frequency of gratitude and like being grateful for life, and even when things are not always feeling perfect, or where there's things like, man, you know, I wish this was different. I wish that, you know, certain things were different. I think it's really powerful to have the energy of gratitude. So I'm gonna light this and set that intention. And I think like why the concept of gratitude was on my mind. Let me open the window just a little bit more. Okay, just crack it open. I think why the concept of gratitude was particularly on my mind today. Hi to those of y'all just joining. I'm talking about the intention for today, and it's gratitude. And I think like why it is on my mind is because I was listening to one of my favorite songs by the Migos, and I was like, man, Takeoff is really gone. Like Takeoff is a member, or was a member, of the Migos. And the Migos, I'm from Atlanta. They're from literally where I live, like where I'm from in Atlanta. The Migos are from there. And so it was a really big deal, you know, when they made it and Takeoff lost his life to gun violence. And there's also someone, you know, close to my family who we lost to gun violence. And I just was thinking like, you know, yeah, there's some things that I wish were different, but the energy of gratitude about being alive and being able to be an artist and being able to continue like using my life force energy to create beauty and to create things that I care about and to create things that inspire other people, I think like it just really grounded me today. And so that's why I wanted to set that intention for us to stay in the frequency of gratitude. Preppy Callie says, hi, welcome. I hope you subscribe. I go live every weekday at 3 p.m. So right now I'm just talking about my energetic intentions. Preppy Callie says, let's make you happy. Thank you. Yeah, no, I am happy, but I just wanted to like kind of talk about why it's important to be grateful. But yeah, so before I get started, today we'll be finishing up painting this bag, and then I'll also like in tandem with that be sharing some artist entrepreneur lessons that I have not only learned over the last 3 years since founding my business, Alaere Lifestyle, which I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Odemi Pesu. I'm an author, and I am also an artist and a fashion designer, and so my company sells artwork and my fashion designs, and I should probably pin it in the chat, but if you go to the description, www.alaereLifestyle AlaereLifestyle.com is my website where you can collect my artwork. Okay, so Clueless says just do you, period. I agree. Preppy Callie says I can't stay for long, but I will sub 100%. Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, so let's get started on the affirmations for today. Yeah, okay, so this is just a book I like to read from in the beginning of some of my lives. Just like when I feel convicted, I am a believer in Christ. This is not to try to convert anybody, but I do think with the craziness of the world, it doesn't hurt to like share some type of positivity and faith with people. So I'm going to read from this book, Godfessions, and it's just like really powerful declarations that I like to read over my life, and I want to share them with y'all. So maybe you can also declare these things over your life and go out into the world knowing that you are a divine embodiment of God consciousness, because that's really the theme of all of my artwork. The artwork behind me, the artwork I create is all to remind especially African people that we were created in God's image, because I do think that there is a lot of messaging that suggests otherwise. And so, yeah, anyways, let me read from Godfessions real quick, and then we'll get started painting. Okay, so today's declaration is called Divine Enablement, and it says, today I speak over my life and over my household that God watches over us to keep us in safety. No weapon formed or fashioned against me shall be able to prosper. God is my keeper, and God is my strength. God is my help. I shall not be dismayed. My bows shall reach over the walls, and my feet have been planted from sea to sea. I have global prominence. I am lifted above every situation and circumstance that surrounds me. I am established over every plan and limitation of darkness. I am set at liberty to find full expression and purpose. My pain is turned into power, and my tests have become testimonies, and my life is a point of reference to the glory of the Lord. My tents are enlarged, my borders are widened. I have the keys of the kingdom. I have the wisdom of the ancient. I have the tongue of the learned. The heavens are open to me. My prayers are heard, and my requests are granted. I am healed, and I remain in health. I have good success. My ways are prosperous. Life favors me. I am a sign and wonder unto many. I am divinely enabled. I am reconciled with God. God is at peace with me, and I am blessed wherever I go. In Jesus' name I believe, and I say amen. Okay, so that's just, a declaration over my life, but over your life too, because we have so much power in the tongue. Like, I grew up hearing that, but literally attraction, law of assumption, like all these different spiritual beliefs do emphasize that what you proclaim over your life has the power to become true. So if you say, I am capable, I am divinely enabled, I am beautiful, I am smart, I am awesome, that is what you will begin to see manifest in your life. Like, even Mahatma Gandhi has a quote that I really love, that a man is but a product of his thoughts, what he thinks he becomes. So I just also want to, fill your minds with some positivity. But yeah, let me see if there's anything else that I want to read from here. But yeah, no, that's it. So, okay. Yay. Also, of course, to begin, my singing bowl. I love this thing. It's so fun. Okay. So, yeah, we got all of that. Oh my gosh, it just got so hot all of a sudden. But anyways, I am painting this. So this is what we've got going right now with the bag. And I think she looks pretty cute. I think it's a pretty cute bag. Like, let me see. Let me stand up and see. If I were to stand up and like go out wearing this, I feel like I would look cute. But however, there are a few things that I want to fix on this part of the bag. So yeah, so the thing is, I did go over the hair with a paint marker, and I didn't go over this side, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just like go over it a bit more with a paint marker. So I also said that I'd be sharing some artist, entrepreneur advice. today. And also I want to like put my website in the chat. So if you see me over here, I'm just like on my laptop. But I did also want to go over some lessons. And I feel like today I just want to talk about some economic principles that have grounded my art business expansion and like have grounded my art practice so that I'm not getting lost in the sauce, like, you know, essentially. I think as artists, sometimes we can resist a bit of that structure, and for good reason, because I think too much structure can actually hinder us creatively. However, I do still think that, you know, being a creative entrepreneur, you do still have to have like a business mindset and balance it with the creativity. So the three economic principles I want to talk about, and these are just three principles that I learned when I studied economics at Brown. Because your girl is a smart cookie, okay? And I do feel like, what's the point of getting that quality of education if I don't share certain things with people? And I realized that there is definitely a hunger for some of that more economics education, because we've been reading Your First Million for the Alaere Book Club, and that book talks about, you know, building a business. It talks about venture capital and all of these different things, and it was written by a Black woman who went from poverty and homelessness to being a multimillionaire and venture capitalist. And so the three things that I want to talk about that we talked about on Monday briefly, but I do want to like ground them in context of creating art and growing an art business, are one, the sunken cost fallacy. Okay, so the concept of sunken costs and why it is a fallacy and how that can actually affect artists and affect creative entrepreneurs who kind of like buy into the idea of sunken costs, even though it's just not real. And then two, I want to talk about opportunity costs, which we have talked about briefly. I think we kind of mentioned opportunity costs yesterday, but yeah, we've talked about opportunity costs, and I hope the Wi-Fi is okay, y'all. I'm like, we just switched to a new Wi-Fi. Oops, we just switched to a new Wi-Fi, so I hope y'all can hear me. I hope it's not, you know, buffering and all that stuff. But anyways, yeah, we've talked about opportunity costs, but I do want to talk a little bit more about that today. And what else? So sunken cost fallacy, opportunity cost. Oh, and ROI. We're going to talk about return on investment and how to make strategic decisions so that you can always get a return on investment when you spend your time doing things, especially as a creative entrepreneur. Okay, so let me go ahead and here, I'll keep this here so y'all can look at it. I'm going to pin my website in the chat just so y'all can check it out. And I'll also, yeah, I'm probably also, I think, gonna adjust the title of today's video and have it be more of like CEO advice, because, or should it be economic advice? Let's say business plus business. Actually, you know what? I'll just give CEO advice. Because these are all things that I feel like I've learned running my business, and I think like people never really share the lessons that they learn in real time. And because there's this false notion, if you ask me, that all artists and creative entrepreneurs just are not like filled with business acumen, they don't have that. I think like it is important for me to share some of these lessons. I just hope that it can be a resource for somebody. Okay, so let me go ahead and put my luxury arts and fashion link on the chat, and y'all can check that out. That's where you can buy all of my artwork and everything that I create. Okay, I'm trying to multitask. But okay, let's see. So I've just placed it in the chat, and this is the website where you can check out everything that I create and all of that. Okay, So going back to, hi Mimas, welcome, welcome. Okay, wow, these are so many emojis. Shocked emoji, world emoji, time emoji, black dot emoji. Where are you tuning in from? Okay, so I just kind of like went over, you know what this looks like? There's this YouTube creator that I follow. Her name is High Frequency Guru, and she makes subliminals and affirmations and things like that that just kind of keep you in a high vibrational state. I actually really like her channel, but this actually looks like her avatar, low key. Because now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, she does have pink hair in her avatar. So I wanted this to like look kind of out of this world a little bit. And as I kind of practice like doing more portraits and things like that, because as you can see behind me, like most of my work is abstract. Like I do a lot more of like abstract work and things like this, which is, you know, this is one of my prints that you can purchase on my website. But I have been trying to like do more portraits and things like that. So I think with her, I do want to make her lips a bit more bright. So I'm going to like just paint over it with a paint marker and just go from there. Because right now they're looking kind of, you know, plain. Hi, Mimas. Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, so today we're just like painting this Kate Spade bag, which, as I mentioned yesterday, this is one of my first big girl purchases that I ever made. Like this was like, I think the first, you know, nice bag that I bought when I got a job out of college. And I just was really happy. I was working in New York in advertising and PR, and I just like always felt so cute walking around, walking into my agency with, you know, this little bag and my pink shoes. And I honestly felt like Elle Woods. But, you know, no, I felt like a cross of Elle Woods and Don Draper. That was it. Yeah. Obsessed with Legally Blonde and Mad Men. But okay, so let's get started talking about the sunken cost fallacy and like why this is something that I think artists particularly, and you know, just creative entrepreneurs, I think we should be wary of falling victim to the sunken cost fallacy. So okay, yeah, I like that a little bit more. I'm going to make the pink on her lips just a little bit darker, but yeah, I think that looks a lot better. And I low-key kind of want to add some color to her eyes, but part of me is like, not too much, not too much. But okay, so the sunken cost fallacy, I'll give you guys the official definition of what that is. We're doing a little econ lesson and some painting, which I think is like really on brand for me. So I studied international political economy in undergrad at Brown University. And then I got my master's in public affairs also at Brown. And so I really, really love economics. And I feel like even though I'm in a creative profession now, I still think back to like times when I wasn't, like when I was working in corporate, when I was working in a more traditional business setting. And there's just certain things that like I think have helped me scale my art business faster than maybe, you know, I would have if I didn't have some of that background. So let me lift my chair up a little bit so I can look at this. But yeah, the sunken cost fallacy is the irrational decision to continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources, such as time, money, or effort, even when it is clear that continuing is not beneficial. It is the tendency to throw good money after bad because of the unwillingness to let past investments go to waste. Okay, so the sunken cost fallacy, I think why, so let me like tilt this a little bit. Okay, so I think why the sunken cost fallacy is pertinent to your art career and your creative career is because you're gonna have to pivot a lot in the beginning. And this is something that I just did not, hold on, sorry, I'm just looking for the purple. Okay, I have it. This is something I guess like I didn't realize I'd have to do when I first, started my business. When I, in retrospect, looking back, it's just like I really jumped into this like head first. And I'm glad that I did, because now look at the world, like look at, where we are with like AI, everything, which I will go on a little tangent on AI in a bit. But I feel like where we are, this white collar recession that we're seeing, I think the last 3 years that I took to really define my value proposition and really, develop my company have kind of like placed me ahead of the curve for people who are just now realizing, oh shit, I might have to kind of pivot from corporate because of everything that's happening. And so the sunken cost fallacy, I think, helped me, or like understanding that helped me know that, okay, just because I've been doing things one type of way doesn't mean that I can't change. And I think that a lot of businesses actually fall victim to the sunken cost fallacy, because they assume that because they invested a lot of money into an endeavor, or maybe into like a new product, even if it's not selling, they just feel like, oh, we have to keep, we have to see it through, my boy. Like, we got to see it through. And this can sometimes, actually, a lot of times, this can hurt you. I think that the ability to be agile is just something I've learned is really like beneficial as an artist, because I remember when I first started selling my artwork, I was using, for example, I was using a different website host. I was using Squarespace. And Squarespace worked for certain things, but I noticed there were certain automations that I needed that I just could not integrate on Squarespace. And this is no dig at Squarespace. I think they were really great for me to like build my blog and all of that stuff. But when I noticed that certain things were just not working with Squarespace, and it just didn't have certain capabilities, at first I resisted, trying to like put in effort into designing a whole new website. And I think that was like that sunken cost fallacy, trying to convince me that, oh, you've already put so much energy into making this website, why would you now go and develop another website and, put all that energy and time and, potentially money into making a brand new website. But I think that what I learned is that, even if you've invested a lot of time into something, if it needs to change, it needs to change. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. I'm just going over these darker purple areas because, like, as you can probably see, like, there's a little bit of area there that is like the paint just did not transfer all the way. That's the thing about painting leather. Like, it can be a little bit tricky. But yeah, so like that's just an example of how the sunken cost fallacy just wants you to stay the same. It wants you to like just stay doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And in life, you have to change, like if you see that something isn't working, like even me on YouTube, I'm realizing just switching to, also I'm gonna switch my brush because that brush was actually about to start annoying me. Okay, but yeah, even like on YouTube, I was doing things a certain way because I thought that's how I needed to do it. And I was posting just regular videos. I was never going live. And I've been going live for like the last month, I guess you could say. And that's another example of how I just refused to let the sunken cost fallacy keep me doing the same thing, even though it wasn't getting me the results that I wanted to see. Ever since going live, my YouTube channel has just grown so much more than it did when I was posting videos quite regularly. Like I was trying to post videos, I'd say like every couple of weeks, like high quality videos, but this algorithm, nobody really understands it and all of this. And so like I have put in so much time and energy into learning how to edit and doing all this stuff, but it wasn't really working. And the sunken cost fallacy would have had me just keep doing that and forcing it to work. And so I just feel like that's just something to be mindful of as you grow a business or any type of, creative endeavor. Don't be afraid to pivot, even though in certain industries pivoting is frowned upon. Like I saw this video where this guy was like, yeah, basically he was rejected for a job because they said he pivoted too much. But in the creative world, the more you're able, or the faster you're able to pivot, I'm realizing the faster you're able to get new opportunities. Like when I was just focused on only working with galleries and just going about my art career in a very, very traditional, somewhat old fashioned way, I feel like it was keeping me stagnant. And when I decided to kind of rebrand as my own gallery and be like, you know what, let me engage with my art practice as my own gallery and the creative behind the art, I started attracting different types of opportunities that I wanted, and I started getting new eyes on my work. And I think like also just taken seriously in a way that I wasn't taken before. So yeah, that's what I will say about the sunken cost fallacy. For sure. Like basically the main thing there is it's not real. And I mean, sunken cost fallacy can also apply to relationships too. There's so many reasons people like stay in toxic, unhealthy relationships or even partnerships with, people that they're doing business with, even if they know, okay, this is not beneficial anymore, but they're like, oh, we got so much history, we have this, but it's like pretty obvious that it's no longer healthy. I think, just keeping that in mind and checking in with yourself and making sure that like the reason you're staying in certain business partnerships or friendships or anything is because it's actually good for you, not because, oh, you feel like you've already invested so much time into it and you don't want to, give up. Because I feel like that's also like kind of like an ego thing, low key. Okay, so this is what the bag is looking like. I feel like now that I've gone over some of those areas, it's looking a lot better. Yeah, I'm gonna go over down here as well, and then I'm gonna go over just a few more spots, and then I think I'll be done. I always say that I think I'm gonna be done, and then I'm like, no, actually, I need to fix this. I'm just somewhat of a perfectionist sometimes. But I am really excited. I'm just like so excited for the day to come when I just have all of my designs displayed in a boutique, and then it's like also my art. I've been thinking a lot like, what is my aesthetic though? Like what would my store's aesthetic be and all of that? But I feel like definitely lots of pink. Definitely. Lots of pink. Some plants, a chandelier. The boutique definitely has to have a chandelier. Maybe a disco ball somewhere. Just like very groovy but earthy. I feel like that's my vibe. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. I'm just like going over some of the areas because I'll pull it closer. I don't want there to be like, for example, you see how here the paint is a little bit transparent. It's not as bad as some of the other sections were, because also low key I don't remember how I made that color. But yeah, so I think this is good to go for the most part, I think. I do still have to go over like these areas. Like you see that it looks like there's a stain, but it's not. It's just that the paint was not thick enough, and so I had to like do multiple layers, which is why this takes so long. But the best things in life are not rushed. Like, that's another thing I think I've learned, with business is like, you gotta take your time. And I was putting so much pressure on myself until I went to this class. The University of Georgia has a small business development center. And so I went to this class about business capital and loans and things like that. And it just showed me like a lot of what they were saying makes you attractive to a bank for a business loan as a small business owner. They were like, they really look at how much of your own money and resources you've invested into a business, and they want to see you doing that for like, a couple of years, 3 years or so, to know that like, okay, you're serious about this. And here I was being so hard on myself, like, oh my gosh, like I've just been putting my own money and my own resources into growing my business, but not knowing until I went to that class that, oh wait, that's actually a good thing. Like, it actually makes me look better to banks, like when I go for a loan. And I was like, oh, so I'm realizing like, okay, I don't have to be so hard on myself. But as y'all can see, obviously I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I'm an overachiever. So like, I like to know like, okay, when I do certain things, I've given it my best. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. I think this is good. I'll just add the lilac color, and then we're gonna do the back. Okay, so do the front. This is the back of the bag. I think for the front, I really wanted to do this like woman lounging, like laying on her side and surrounded or like on top of waves. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like I can see it in my head, and I saw an album cover of a song that I was listening to yesterday. The album cover of the artist basically looked like what I wanted to see on the bag. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to use that as a point of reference. But I hope y'all are having a great day so far. I'm excited because the week is almost over, and I'm gonna go to see a live DJ set tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. Just ready for the weekend. And I think today's live, I might not stay on too long. Because yesterday I stayed on for like wait, hold on, let me even check. How long was I on live yesterday? I was on live for a hot minute. I was on live yesterday, I think for like 3.5 hours, which was kind of insane to me. Let's see. Yeah, yesterday's live was like, okay, it wasn't 3.5, but it was a little bit over 3 hours. And I'm just like, oof, I have things that I need to do. But I just love talking to y'all. Like, I love coming on here. So I'm just trying to like make sure I have a balance of like how much time I spend on here, because it is still screen time at the end of the day. It's still the internet. So, I got things I got to do in real life. But yeah. And I think I like need to go to the store, just like pick up a couple of things. So I want to make sure like I don't stay on super duper long. So I think I'll get off around like 4:30. Yeah. But just a heads up, because I know like, but there's some people who come on regularly at like the tail end of my live, and I guess it's, a timing thing, because they're tuning in from different parts of the country. So yeah, but also going back to the energy of gratitude, I was just thinking today, like, wow, this is my job. Like, my job is to paint and to share it with people. And I think that's really cool. Like, even when I used to always want to, just give up, like literally, and it doesn't help sometimes when you have people around you who should be encouraging you, and they're like, yeah, maybe you should just get a job, like, and not get a job to support it, like literally just like, maybe you should quit. If you have people around you telling you that, you need to get you some people around you who, instead of saying, hey, just quit, if they see that there's something you could do better, get people around you who say, hey, you know what? I see what you're trying to do. What you're doing right now is not working, but here's why, and here's how you could be better. Like when I was in my art classes at Brown, like during critiques and stuff, I mean, I'm sure during an MFA it's a bit more intense, but this was undergrad, just an undergrad visa course. I remember my teacher during critiques, like if someone's art was objectively not the best, she wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, never make art again. Like you should just give up, go study engineering." Like she wasn't like that. She'd be like, "Hey, you know, this is what you can do better. Study this, or here's the technique you can try." And so, I just think it's really important, especially as young creatives and young business owners, to try to keep that positivity around you, because dream killers are very dangerous, but they're a very real part of this population. And I think that's why, like, sometimes as an artist you do kind of have to develop your practice in silence. Like you don't have to share every single part of the creative process online or with people, because you know a lot of people won't get it until they just see it. Like it's taken people a while. In my case, I'd say like it's taken a couple of years for people to be like, oh, okay, I'm seeing everything come together now. Like I get it, I see the vision. And you know, I'm like happy because I also come on here on YouTube and y'all get the vision, y'all see it. Okay, so see how it's like looking more vibrant because I went over those areas. I'm thinking about putting some of this color here, maybe, just to make it more cohesive. But yeah, this is like so cool. This is actually, it's actually a real life painting that I can wear. Like that is just, I'm so happy that I decided to start doing this. And that like when I realized, you know, I was getting frustrated with the art market, and I looked and I said, oh wait, people are still buying fashion. The fashion industry is always going to be around. Like it doesn't matter what the economy looks like, there's always going to be people who want to buy something cool to wear because it just makes you feel good, you know. And I do think we're entering an era where people are going to care more about artistry in fashion. And Andre Talley, if he were alive, may he rest in peace, he'd be so happy about that. My fellow alum, like I was so hyped when I found out he went to Brown. I was like, see, it's a sign. But yeah, like I just feel like people are really starting to realize, especially with AI and everything, like, hey, we need human art. Like, you know, and I'm not completely against AI. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the environment. And I'm like, yeah, but you still buy gas from Shell. You still buy gas from Chevron, and they've been polluting, especially my people's place in the Niger Delta. They've been polluting them for decades, and nobody cares about that. People are not flocking to get electric cars. And I think like part of the conversation or the backlash to AI that, I don't know, people don't want to talk about this, but AI has helped a lot of small business owners and smaller creators to be able to automate things that usually would cost hundreds of dollars if you worked with like if you worked with an agency. And this is not to say, oh my gosh, AI is perfect and without flaws. However, it has really leveled the playing field for a lot of people who may not have the resources to outsource certain things. Okay, so like AI, for example, has helped me with like SEO and like having an SEO strategy, which that stuff really, it costs money. Or like even writing a business plan. Like I wrote out my business plan, but I didn't really necessarily know exactly like how to make it how it's supposed to be because I've never done it before. And I was like, okay, AI, this is what I told ChatGPT, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what like, obviously, you know, the prompts are very important, but yeah, like it helped me. And it's not like I didn't ask people in real life, you know, people I knew, hey, you know, I'm writing a business plan. Can I ask, you know, can I have your thoughts? Can I have you take a look at what I have? And I was just getting the run around, y'all. So I think AI definitely has its pros and its cons, but I don't feel threatened by it as an artist because I know why people resonate with my artwork is from a place of like identity and like lived experience. So if you're an artist, I feel like figure out a way to use the technological advancement to your advantage, basically. Because in econ, they have the short run and they have the long run demand curve. And technological advancements always cause a disruption and like, yeah, just a lot of disruption in the short run. But in the long run, it's really beneficial. Now, I can't really speak on AI, like from an open AI perspective. Like, I don't know. I think they've just gotten into like adult content or something, which I think is strange, but aren't all these people just kind of strange at the end of the day? I feel like AI for artists, we can use it to outsource or like automate certain things that maybe we don't know how to do. So for example, like if you're a budding fashion designer, but you don't have the resources to work with an atelier to go back and forth creating, you know, different samples and then deciding, or creating different patterns and then deciding which pattern works, you can upload your sketch and say, hey, render this on a person so I can visualize what these different sketches look like. And then you can go from there and, you know, decide which one looks best. And I feel like that's something that makes AI like a good resource for artists. Now, using AI to make art itself, I wouldn't advise. Like, it looks pretty bad. But yeah, just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. Okay. So, this is what it's looking like. Yay! I'm gonna have to see how this looks like dried down, because I'm seeing a little bit of the blue peek through. So we'll have to see. We shall see. I feel like it just takes so many layers. Okay. Today is so chill. I hope more people join the live though. But I think like maybe we're all just feeling a little tired. Thursdays can definitely be like that, which I'm like, wow, I can't believe it's almost the weekend. Like it feels like it was literally just the weekend. Okay, so I'm going to go in with like a smaller brush, maybe something like this, to add the details and the tiny crevices. Because this bag has kind of like a pebble texture. So it can be a little bit difficult to make the lines as clean as I want them to be, but I'm trying. But I definitely think that like the pebble texture makes it a little bit difficult. Not impossible. Not impossible though. Okay, I think I might have to just let that dry for a little bit. Okay, one thing I do want to do today is also work on the... Uh-oh. My bee. I was like, what was that? See, that's another thing. I need to like move some of this stuff. Like there's just a lot going on in my workstation right now. But I want to like go over the jacket and I want to tell y'all what I'm thinking I'm going to do instead. Okay, so remember how I started painting this jacket? The back. And I wanted to do like a koi fish design. However, I want to do kind of like a portrait now, but I think I also want to do the portrait using rhinestones. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I kind of want to, I have these rhinestones that are really pretty, and I want to like use jewels, like, because the material is so hard to paint that I'm like, I think I might get really frustrated. I think I might get really frustrated just trying to just do something like a painting. So I think what I'll do is I will, what's it called? I'll finish the underpainting and then I will do a cute portrait. And I'll probably use like my paint markers to do the portrait, and then I'll go in and add details with some rhinestones and some jewels. And then I think for the, what's it called? I think for the, what's it called? Why am I blanking right now? For the sleeves. I think for the sleeves, I might just add some like trim or something. Maybe I might add some fringe and then some jewels around the hem, because painting this, I don't know, like this was already not, like, I don't know if it's gonna look exactly how I want it to look. So let's clear up some stuff and yeah, like just finish painting the underpainting. Let me see if I'm going to, I'll probably leave this out just for now, but I just have so much paint out right now. That's why you heard that big crash earlier. Some stuff like just fell. But yeah, I think this looks really cute. I am excited to do the front, but I think I might just like work on it later, because ideally next week I'll be able to get back to doing lookbooks and stuff, and then I can show you what the jacket is looking like. Well, maybe the jacket might be done by next week, but I can show you like what the jeans are looking like on me. I can show you the bag. I can show you the shoes that I'm gonna paint and stuff. So slowly but surely we are making some progress here. I just feel like this is really my digital archive. Like, obviously I want to, I want y'all to subscribe. I definitely want y'all to subscribe and be a part of the community. But it's really more so a way for me to like have an archive of my creative process and like, wow, I was able to create this. And yeah, okay, so we're gonna go over this, but before I put this purse away, I think this part has dried down just a little bit, so I'm gonna go over it. Okay. So much going on. Oh, hey Victoria, the intuitive abstract artist. I'm doing well. How are you? I totally missed your comment. I don't know why. It didn't show up for whatever reason at first. But I'm doing well. Like, I'm painting this bag and I think it's going pretty well. I like how it's turning out. This is just the back of the bag. I decided to start on the back because honestly I was like, I don't know how this is going to look, but I think it's looking pretty. Hey, Masmola. Okay, who says, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Praise the Lord, you are correct. How are you? Welcome. I was just talking about like how I'm about to switch gears from the bag that I've been painting the last couple of days. And yeah, this is what it's looking like. I don't know, I think I like how this side is looking. And then when I do the front, we'll see how it looks. I'm tempted though to add like a little bit of something to the eyes, but I'm like, let me not do too much. That's how I'll do stuff and then mess it up. Masmola says, I'm good. How are you? I'm having dinner. Ooh, nice. What are you eating? Beautiful artwork. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really vibing with this. Like, I'm excited to wear this out because I'm telling y'all, like, I wanted to get rid of this bag, but I'm really happy that I decided, you know, some of my more like high quality items that I was thinking about giving away, like, I think I was gonna give this to my niece or something, but then I was like, you know what? It has sentimental value. Let me turn it into artwork. Okay. So yeah, let me I don't know why the chat was stuck on my phone, but now I'm about to switch gears and work on this. So as I was saying before y'all joined, I wanted this jacket. I wanted it to be like a painted koi fish design, which I saw on Pinterest, and I was like, ooh, I can like mix that up and put my own twist on it. But this jacket, if you can see, like, it's really hard to paint. So I think it'll be easier to use permanent fabric glue and make a portrait out of like rhinestones and jewels, because I've always wanted to do something like that, and I've seen a lot of jackets like that. And then I think like I'll add some fringe. Actually, let me show y'all what the jacket looks like on, so you can get an idea of what I'm thinking. Okay, that's all it says. God bless you. Take care. Good night. Good night. Okay, thanks for tuning in. So this is what the jacket looks like. And I feel like, well, maybe fringe might not be the best, but I definitely do want to add like some type of design here. But I know the back is for sure gonna have the rhinestones and the jewels and stuff. But I just want the jacket to be cooler. Like, I don't know. Maybe I might paint a little bit, but I'm just not impressed with the painting experience on this material. So I think that's why I'm like hesitant. Okay, so we're gonna put this to the side. Let me put it somewhere where I won't accidentally knock it over. Okay. I'm gonna put it right there. And then let's get back to this jacket. Oh, and also let me put this down here as well. Okay. So yeah, let me get back to the jacket. But yeah, like I'm still trying to kind of think, and this kind of goes back to the sunken cost fallacy that I was talking about earlier. Like, it's so important to pivot. If you're doing something and it's not working, there's always another way. There's so many routes to get to a place. Like in the quantum field, just like there's so many versions of you living your dream life. Like your dream life could be in one part of the world or in another part of the world. Like there's just so many different ways to go about it. That's true about artwork as well. So let me clear up my space a little bit. Okay. Yeah, because I have so many things just laying around here, but I think this is gonna be better, like me just kind of going over it or like doodling a line art drawing. Okay, let me put the jacket. So let's brainstorm, because I'm like, okay, this is not necessarily what I wanted it to look like in the beginning, but that's okay. The material is what it is, and I definitely want to still make this jacket look dope and fly, super fly. So we're gonna figure it out. I think the rhinestone idea is gonna be fun. Probably pretty time consuming, but I'll just charge money for it. Okay, so let's see. Let's pull up Pinterest and see how we wanna go about this. Because I saw some jackets. Oh, I'm just dropping everything today. Okay, let me move this before I drop something else. Anyways, I saw some jackets on Pinterest where it was like, it was painted, but then they had rhinestones and jewels and things like that. And I know when I go to Michael's, I'm like obsessed with the, you know, the arts and crafts section. But for example, like I did want to add, okay, let me just unplug my laptop for a second. I think that's why it keeps on doing stuff. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at before we start, because we're having to pivot here. Okay, so I wanted to do something like that on the sleeves, like some type of ornate, flowery design, but I'm realizing using actual paint might be like tricky, so it'll be good to use my paint markers. So I'll just do that, but like, maybe it was Alice and Olivia that I saw. Hold on. Let's see, let's see. I'm trying to show y'all, like, there was an exact example of what I wanted, but it's not coming up. But yeah, Alice and Olivia, she does a good job of, okay, yes, I found it. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Okay, so I was thinking about doing like some type of portrait, like a minimalist portrait on the back, and then embellishing it with rhinestones. And I'll show you like the rhinestones. Ooh, my package just came. I'm looking out my window and I'm like, yes. I've been waiting. Okay, so maybe something like this, like where they embellished it with rhinestones. Can y'all see that? So, yeah. But first, let's just finish this underpainting because these streaks are literally going to annoy me. Okay, let's get to it. Going live every day is like, it's definitely an experience. I'm like, I have to tell myself, you know what, it's good that you're doing this every day. You just got to be consistent, even if, you know, I don't know how many people view until like after I get off. But you know, sometimes I'm like, are people even watching? But then I'm like, you know what? Does it matter? Like, does it matter if they are, or does it matter more the fact that I'm showing up? And I think it's the latter. I don't know. I'm really convinced that like this is going to change my life. Like I feel like YouTube is really going to change my life. I don't know. It's just a feeling I have. So today I'm going to use a different brush instead and see if maybe that helps the application process, if like that makes it better so that there's not as many streak marks. So I'm using like, I think this is called a mop. Yeah, it's a mop brush. Understandably so. And I'm going to mix in more of this pink. But yeah, I think like, ooh, yeah, so much better. The first brush I was using, not it. So this is better because I think even if it shows the brush marks, at least it looks more fluid. But yeah, this material is definitely not something I'd want to spend too much time painting. But I do think that the jacket is going to come out really cute, and I'm excited to do. So what I'm going to do after all of the pieces are painted, like the staple pieces, I'm going to do a photo shoot, and I think it's going to be fun. Like, I really do want to do a photo shoot in an actual studio space, but then I'm thinking maybe I might go rogue and do like OG fashion blogger style, find some cute places in my town and go take some photos there. I just feel like I'm back. Okay, if I'm being real, y'all, I feel like there was this blog, well, it was like a site where different fashion designers and fashion stylists and like fashion enthusiasts during the 2010s, my prime, JK, I'm in my prime right now. I'm always in my prime. But basically, like, you know, the 2010s were a good time creatively, and it was called Chictopia. And I always, when I was younger, I was like, oh my gosh, one day I want to just have a blog on there. This was during the time where like Solange released True, and you know, there was that blog called Man Eater. Let me know like if this is just sounding mad millennial to y'all, because I'm oldest Gen Z, youngest, like I'm a cusper. So I was born in 96. So there's still a lot of things that I think millennials miss that I also do miss them. And yeah, like I just feel like sometimes not everybody has the resources to rent out a $300 an hour studio and take photos with, and then they have to hire a photographer. Child, listen, I just want to get some high quality photos. I have a couple of professional cameras. I think I'm just gonna get my nieces to help me on a day when they don't have like cheerleading or something. I'll just be like, hey yo, you get a camera, you get a camera. You're in charge of social media content and you're in charge of the photos. And one day they can add it to their resume. Like, this is nepotism. It's not free labor. Because I just feel like that's another thing. Like, as a business owner, you know, social media shows everybody just kind of going full-blown professional Vogue, you know, off rip. And I don't know if maybe I'm in an unpopular opinion crowd with this opinion, but sometimes I like seeing when brands are kind of grungy a little bit, like a little bit scrappy with what they do. And I think it shows me like, you know what, like this is pretty dope. Like a human, an artist actually made this. Like it doesn't have to be corporate perfection standards. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Because I feel like so many people want to do things and they're like, oh no, I can't do it because I don't have this camera that this influencer has, and I don't have it. And it's like, what did Mariah Carey say? You got to do the best with what you got. That's exactly how she said it too. So yeah. Just doing the best with what I got. And I think it's going to add this, like, I don't know, I was a Tumblr kid. Like, I had a blog on Tumblr and these sound effects. And that's like, that was the vibe that I was on. And so I just feel like